Hey, welcome again to another live demo. We are here at Concord, North Carolina, the Rhino Assembly headquarters. Proud to give you a couple videos here at this location before we shoot it over to a couple remote access sites as well, then over to Louisville, Kentucky. Today we are talking about Proglove. My name is Justin Walsh. I'm one of the sales engineers for the Rhino Assembly, Rhino Tool House region called the Coastal region, and I'm based out of South Carolina. Now, before we begin, I want to talk to you a little bit about a couple admin notes. Please, on your Zoom meeting, there is a chat box. Please put any questions that you have in that chat box, and we will be sure to answer those in a timely manner. At the end of the session, we will have a Q&A. If we don't answer those questions, we'll go back to you as quickly as possible. And additionally, you're going to want to go side-by-side mode on your Zoom meeting, and Steve will put that in the chat column for you. That way you can be able to see my screen that I'm presenting along with my video. Now, talking about Proglove, Proglove is a very unique industrial solutions for a mobile scanning device. Proglove itself as a company was founded in Germany. In Germany, that team over there went over to the Silicon Valley in the mid-2000s, going into 2010, promoted and pitched the idea of Proglove, the actual hand scanner. And they actually were given a grant, given some money and some funds to actually establish the Proglove system that you have here today in front of you called the MARC system. Now, there's a couple of unique things about the MARC system. Number one, this is the world's industry's first wearable scanner that gives you full mobility of your hands. As you can see, I'm wearing one of the scanners today. I have full abilities of all of my fingers, unlike some other competitors in the past that have come out with a hand scanner as well. There's two different unique styles of hand scanners when it comes to the glove. We have a trigger finger, so we actually have a wrap glove that goes around your actual gloves that most manufacturers will buy and give their operators, such as something like this. So your operators will wear the glove and then they'll put the wrap over top of it. The index trigger is the only trigger. They used to have a palm that's been discontinued, but we have an index finger, and that activates the actual Proglove, or what we call the MARC system. Now, there's also a glove that you can buy as a wearable that has the hand scanner component put into the glove. Most of the times we see that most manufacturers already have a specific set of gloves they want to use, so they just use the glove and they buy the wrap. So what is the MARC system? The MARC system has the ability have an infrared and a camera technology inside of the MARC system. There are currently 3 different MARC family scanners available through Proglove. The first one is called the MARC Basic. The MARC Basic is a gray scanner. This is a Bluetooth only capable scanner and has a capability of about 3,000 scans per each battery charge. The MARC Standard and MARC Mid-Range scanners can work Bluetooth and via a access point, which is right here, and these will get about 6,000 scans per charge. There's a battery charger that comes with it, a double bay battery charger, so you can have 2 charging at the same time, which means that you have the ability to have 2 operators wearing two MARC systems and 2 charging while that's lasting. We don't go by an hourly rate when it comes to battery life. We talk about the amount of scans that's given. So the MARC system is great because what it does is really save you takt time. We have a major OEM, MVI or Motor Vehicle Industry OEM, that integrated the MARC system into their manufacturing floor when they had a previously antiquated system that was decades old. What that did to save that manufacturer 21 production days a year. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about $1 million of savings by integrating the Proglove into their manufacturing floor. With about 150 scans per station, Proglove can almost guarantee 3 to 7 seconds of takt time savings per station. That equates to strict money savings for you as our customer. The MARC Mid-Range and MARC Basic, as I discussed, report to the access point. This access point is really a very user-friendly plug-and-play system. It can have either an RS-232 or a USB, or excuse me, Ethernet connection at the very end of this, which means it's very powerful for a plug and play onto a PLC, to a computer, to an MES system, or more. I'm going to switch up here and talk a little bit about the Mark Basic. The Mark Basic, being a Bluetooth-only device, is something that has the ability to connect to Samsung devices via the latest and greatest Samsung app that Proglove has developed. The simple way to activate a Mark system is putting it inside of your holder on your glove, pressing down the trigger. Pressing down the trigger will activate the actual Mark system, this being the Mark Basic. I have a vibratory alert that my Mark is active. Then I also had the visual alert with some green LEDs that made it active. I have an Android tablet here, and I'm going to bring up the tablet. On the Samsung-based tablets, they have a Proglove app. This Proglove Configure app brings up, and it says the first thing I need to do is scan to pair. I'm going to scan this system to be able to pair it. Boom, there it goes. I just paired it. So now what I'm going to do is pull up just a simple, I have a OneNote here. The OneNote will allow me just like a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet, I'll be able to directly input whatever I scan inside the system. So what I'm going to do is just scan the side of this. I get another audible LED and a button or a buzzer and a vibration. So I get a visual, a vibration, and an audible signal that I just scanned, and I get an input right into my OneNote. So they're very easy. If I ever need to disconnect the system, I go to the app, I press disconnect, and now I'm disconnected. So when I go over to the Mark II standard or mid-range, I have this access point, I have this access point, and this access point is paired to my computer. So on here, again, I'd activate the system. You can see the screen, my button is right here. I actually click on my dongle, I pair my dongle, again, I get another vibration, an audible signal as well, and an LED showing that I'm actually connected. And right here, I have my screen on the background. I'm also sharing the screen, but that allows me the ability just to come over, scan different things that I have. I do have a couple programming tools, some simple barcodes that I have here. Now with the configuration software for the Mark series, it's very simple. config.proglove.de right on the website. And there is a 4-step process to be able to scan and change this at any time. The Mark system can accept code 39s, 128s, data matrix, some tested laser etched UPC or barcodes, 2D barcodes, and many, many more. And with the configuration software, you can quickly and easily disable one of those settings that you want. There's also some features such as a fuzzy debarcode, which allows you, if your barcode is very unreadable or has been sitting in a bad environment over several years, months, days. So as you can see, we have it up here, all the scans that we just did. So how we configure that is we go in and actually call the config.proglove.de configuration software online. And very simple, user-friendly, step-by-step procedures to guide you through how to configure the actual Proglove for your manufacturing environment. Things such as the ability to enable or disable different kind of barcodes. The Mark glove can read up to code 39s, 128s, data matrix, different kind of lasers etched, or even 2D barcodes. And you can also disable all of those barcodes that you want as well. For instance, you want your operator to only scan code 39s at the appropriate time and then code 128s at the appropriate time. And you can determine that on the configuration software when they need to scan that. So there's a lot of testing that goes on with barcode readers on a daily basis with Proglove. If you don't think that yours is able to scan, what we do is we actually take a picture of that. We send it over to the Proglove engineering team, and they can quickly determine if we have the ability to read those. Some of the times we go in for demos and we scan or attempt to scan a specific UPC from a customer, and we're not able to do that. We send it over to Proglove, and within typically 1 week, we have a response back on what's it going to take to be able to scan that particular barcode. So it's very interesting. Proglove is very, very user-friendly. They're also very much of a custom-oriented company that has very high response times. So we've talked a little bit about the Proglove. I just want to go over and recap what kind of equipment that you need to integrate Proglove into your manufacturing environment today. So first, depending on if you have the Bluetooth or if you have the actual tethered access point, you'll need an access point, either RS2, 32, or the USB version. Then you'll need either a glove or a wrap, and then you'll simply need a mark system and the charger. That's it. 4 to 5 pieces of the device can get you up and running in a matter of time and get you on your way to multiple hours saved, which equates to dollars in your pocket. I'm going to open up the floor right now to some questions, and we'll try to answer all of them the best we possibly can. I have with me Steve today, and Steve's going to ask some of the questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Justin. I got a question here. How does it connect to a controller/receiver? Is it a difficult process?
So like I just mentioned, Steve, connecting to a controller USB, typically most of that time, controller, and most of the time we just do USB. And most of the time the controllers, the breadth of portfolios that we represent, anywhere from DeSuter to Coleco to Estic to ASG, and multitudes of other different controller platforms that we have, they always have a USB slot in them. And for the Proglove, we would just take the dongle or access point with the USB connection and plug that in. And then we'll make that slot on the USB a actual keyboard function. So that's how your controller is going to recognize it, is as a keyboard. Good question, Steve. Next.
Perfect. How long does the battery typically last in a unit?
How long is a typical battery last? So the batteries range hourly wise. We've seen between 8 to 10 to 14 to 18 out to 24 hours sometimes. What I mentioned before in the very beginning is Proglove looks at more of this as a amount of scans that you do versus an actual battery life. So with the Mark Basic, you get the 3,000 scans. And with the Mark Standard or mid-range, which are designated as an orange color instead of the gray, they get up to that 6,000 scans.
Perfect. Does the Proglove work with any DC tool?
So the question is, does the Proglove work with any DC tools? As long as they have the ability to input a scanner or a keyboard function inside of that, then I don't know of any brand right now that we cannot use with the Proglove series. So to answer that, it's no, we do not know of any brand that it cannot work with.
Can it move from one station to another easily?
Okay, so moving from one station to another is very simple in nature. Although it seems difficult, you don't have to call Honeywell or Zebra to get everything moved or programs changed. With Proglove, you can do it very easily yourself. With the actual access point, you pair the system to that access point by using the mark, scanning it to this particular access point itself. That system is now paired to this access point. If you were to have 2 stations next to each other, you're going to have an access point to station 1, and you'll have an access point to station 2. If you want to change this scan to go from 1 to 2, you simply go over to station 2's access point, you scan that, and now you're sending that information that you scanned back to the access point on station 2. Pretty simple.
What is the weight of the scanner and glove in total?
So the actual Mark system is about 1.4 ounces. It's very light, very easy to use, and is very durable in nature. The glove itself comes in 3 sets. I don't know exactly what the glove is, but as you can see here, it's very flimsy. I really can't even tell that it's on, but the Mark system itself is 1.4 ounces.
How durable are these wearable scanners? Impact resistant and duration of the material from normal wear.
So each one of these scanners are rated at 50 to 100 drops on concrete at a 6.5 foot from the floor. So before they go on the floor, anywhere between 50 to 100 tests are done dropped on concrete. So very durable, very, obviously you can see very small, but very durable and compact, designed by Proglove.
If an operator is wearing this for an entire assembly process, how easy is it to accidentally trigger the scan while gripping objects?
So when gripping objects, there's going to be some kind of a time frame that the operator is going to have to understand, because it is on my my index finger. I do have the ability to hit it with my thumb or any other object, but most of the time when you're grabbing a specific object, you're not grabbing with your index finger. When you do grab a DC tool, you will have to understand that, and I'll grab one right here real quick. Excuse me. So I have one right here, and so when I actually grab that, I do have the ability, if I'm squeezing this differently, to actually activate it. So the good thing, though, is that we at Rhino Tool House have developed a solution for that. We had a couple of customers come down and say, hey, I am hitting my trigger or the trigger of the Proglove on my DC tool. So what we've done is we actually used one of our vendors that creates 3D, molded 3D printed material, and we've actually been able to come up with covers for our DC tools. And the Proglove won't be on our actual hands anymore. It would be on the DC tool. So we can have the scanner right on top of the tool, the side of the tool, and we've actually been able to redesign the trigger so we can press different parts of that 3D extremity 3D printed material that goes around the outside of the tool. Good question, though.
We use the lanyard version. If we decide to switch to the glove, is it interchangeable?
So what he's talking about, and I have a different type of configuration. Instead of the glove, what we have is a lanyard here. The lanyard could be used on your belt, as I see here. And I'm going to enter it real quick for you. You'll see it. Entered it on. It's already up and running. You can see the laser, the lights come on, and I'm fully functional and ready to go. If I want to change this system right here from the lanyard to the glove, it takes about 4 seconds. If I take this one off, put this one on, press the trigger, I'm up and running. So less than 4 seconds for me to switch between the hand glove to the lanyard, or what we call as a Proglove reel, or vice versa. Good question. Any other questions?
Yep, we do have another one here. Since the battery is integrated, can the battery be replaced if it wears out?
The answer to that is no, it's not. You would buy a whole nother mark system yourself. But we always recommend to have backups.
Perfect. Are there any protective covers available to place on top of the glove scanner to reduce impact from hitting metal racking or other objects? And I think you covered that in an earlier question, but go ahead.
Yeah, I did cover that. So again, we could use some kind of 3D printed material to cover tools, or put the actual scanner inside of part of the tool housing itself. But we also have 3D printed covers that we've looked at to put on top of the actual mark system on your hand. So when you are coming up against maybe a Class A painted surface, such as a quarter panel of a car, that you're not hitting that and marking it. Now, it is made of a very, very, there's no rigid points, I would say, on the mark system to where it's going to scratch very easily. Proglove is also looking at coming out with a solution themselves that would house and go over top of their system too.
Perfect. And the last question here, does this device work for both Android and iOS?
So right now, that question would be for the Bluetooth. And remember, the Mark II Basic, which is the gray version, that works only Bluetooth. The Mark II mid-range and standard work for Bluetooth and all obviously via the access point. On the Bluetooth capable version right now, it is only Android. They have launched the app, everything through Android, and they are working on a Windows-based iOS system as well. They don't know when that's supposed to come out, although they anticipate the end of 2020.
That looks to be it. Thank you, Justin.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Again, we talked about Proglove, made in Germany, supported here locally by us at Rhino Tool House. Please continue to check out our YouTube page for live demos coming to you every single week for the next several weeks. And if you have any other requests, please feel free to look on our website via rhinotoolhouse.com or email us anytime, sales@rhinotoolhouse.com. Thank you and have a wonderful day.